Peter Dutton has vowed that should you elect a coalition government, we will not be hosting COP31 in 2026. Now, this was an Albanese government promise long before they came to power. They were going to be hosting this. The typical thing every single year where all the countries converge in one place, tens of thousands of people, and the host country facilitates the negotiations between more than 200 countries, figuring out how do we combat and survive the imminent doom from climate change. Well, Labor had its heart set that that place would be Australia in 2026. Here's Dutton saying, mate, under a government I lead, it's not going to happen.
The government's planning to spend tens of billions of taxpayers' dollars on hosting a COP process that's not going to bring down power prices and is going to sign a Labor government up to giving tens or hundreds of billions of dollars out to third-party countries. I mean, it's just, it's madness. So that's not something we're supporting. So,
to be clear, hosting it wouldn't cost that much. In 2020, Madrid spent just $100 million. And in the following year, Glasgow forked out $250 million to host it. But that was because of all the COVID stuff at the time. So it made it significantly more expensive for them. And many of these countries say that it's a net economic gain when all these people pile into the country. So there's that green tick for us if it were to go ahead, which I think it will, because we'll still have an Albanese government. Of course, we won't find out until June of next year who's hosting it. The biggest stake is Turkey, who reckons it's going to have it at all costs. But what Dutton's talking about there is collectively countries do get together and commit tens of billions of dollars to Pacific Island nations and other poorer countries to combat climate change, to which I say Australia would be doing that anyway. Every year we send our contingent and every year we promise billions of dollars to this. And I genuinely don't believe that that would be any different under a coalition government. It hasn't been in the past and it won't be under a Dutton-led government.
It seems to me the cost in hosting COP is not staging the event, that's just putting on an event. And sure, you get the economic benefit of, 30,000 people flying in their jets using avgas and staying in all your best hotels and eating all your steak and so on. But the real cost is proving your climate credentials in order to be voted as the host. So Chris Bowen at the last COP conference committed $200 million US from Australia for climate financing. There was $50 million for Australia Pacific Partnership for Energy Transition, another $50 million for responding to loss and damage through climate change. And all of this was done to demonstrate that we are serious about climate change and therefore worthy as hosts in 2026, which would be a wonderful opportunity for Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen to grandstand on the world stage. But then the other cost is having been approved as a worthy host, then you've got to be a worthy example, right? So you can't really host COP31 and not contribute above and beyond just the average amount of money. So the cost is not in staging the event, it's in winning approval to stage it and then providing an example as the host country that the government are going to blow huge amounts of money on this for a grandstanding opportunity. It's not going to help Australians. As Peter Dutton said, it won't make a scrap of difference to our lives, except it'll be more money going out the door.
Well, just send them a copy of any Australian's power bill over the last couple of months. I think that ought to show why we deserve to have it. We've done more for climate change than any other bugger on the face of the earth, haven't we? I think we should have it free of charge, given what we're paying through the nose to help climate change with renewable energy. I mean, it's all good and well to have a laugh about these people who carry on about climate change and then fly on their private jets and talk about the carbon emissions of cows and eat the steak and whatever. But you know what, I don't really care. If it's a conference that brings some economic benefit into the town, like governments pump money into sports or whatever other events, I couldn't really give a toss what it is. And you don't really have to prove how great your economic credential, not economic, given some of the countries that have it, you don't have to prove economic credentials.
Fair point.
And nor does this government have any. Your environmental credentials, because you know, this year COP30 is being held in Brazil, and they're not entirely sure how to get all the attendees to the place where it's going to be held. So you know what they're doing? They're cutting down swathes of the Amazonian rainforest to build a highway so they can transport them. So if you can do that in the name of helping the environment by hosting COP30, then I can't possibly see how we need to spend a cent or do anything in order to deserve to get it. I think we should be a shoo-in, and good on us.